if you are in the market for a new TV but are finding it hard to make sense of the latest jargon like I always do.
Yes, so likewise. Well, to help us make sense of all of the terms like 4K, 8K, HDR, OLED, QLED, ABCD, ULED, whatever they're all. Our image matrix tech editor guru is here to tell us all. Djuro, it's great to have you on board again.
Right, it's not easy, is it?
No, it's certainly not. But before we go into all that, let's talk about Apollo 11, of course, marking the 50th anniversary. Now, being the tech man you are, NASA say the computers on board the Apollo spacecraft were not even as powerful as our smartphones.
These smartphones are 1 million times more powerful than the Apollo computers that were on board. But I tell you what, because these aren't hardened for cosmic radiation and full of bugs, I would take the manually wired. They use a thing called rope memory. They just, with basically like a needle, rope memory, absolutely indestructible.
But what is going on here, though, bud?
Oh, so this is, I've been listening to, this is an app to the launch as it happened, the entire launch since they took off from Cape Canaveral in real time. So if I actually turn the volume up here, you should be able to hear some of the chatter, but there's Capcom. So it's in real time. So soon, if you've been listening to this, I've been having it going in the car, and all those tracks of audio have been coming down from the Apollo 11 mission down to Houston, and it's been fantastic. So real time.
So what is the app?
So at lunchtime today, bang, it'll be one small step. Exactly.
And the great thing is, there's big moments of silence, and you think, oh my God, they've kept all this stuff, and it's just great when you're just hearing sort of normal chatter. So it really gives you a chance to relive it in a way, how you would have done it in the...
What is the name of the app? Is it Apollo 11?
It's called Apollo 11 realtime.org or Apollo realtime.org.
Okay.
So check it out. That's the app. I'll reshare it again from my Twitter account, and if you guys want to share it out, it'd be great. You can actually listen to it live 50 years later.
Love it. Know what I'm doing this
good as that.
Yeah, great.
Now, all right, the TVs.
Oh, TVs.
Tell us about TVs.
So,
Joni just went through all the jargon of it.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to turn the
Turn
Apollo
the
11.
Armstrong down, mate.
So, basically, look, the things that the remotes have got smaller. That's the Samsung. I've got a Samsung Q9 at home. They're great. And this is a LG pointer remote. So, but they're smart as well. But you mentioned 4K, OLED, QLED, all those sorts of terms. And I really feel sorry for people who are trying to go and buy a TV because it's so hard to work out what you have to look at to know you're buying good TV value for money and not getting ripped off.
So you said 4K. What about 8K? Can we see much of a difference?
We joked about seeing you in 8K. In Japan, the Olympics are going to be shot in 8K.
I saw that. I did a story on that, yeah.
Yeah. That is 33 megapixels in each time you look at the screen. 33 megapixels. So it's 4 times the size of 4K. And here I tested out the 8K OLED from Samsung. They got out of the blocks really early. 4K is up-res to 8K, and the AFL rugby league games that have been on the 4K Ultra service have been phenomenal, absolutely brilliant. But 8K, there's not really any content out there. There's some on YouTube, but you can't really see it natively on it. I'm testing out there. This is a 8K OLED television, and this is probably worth about 60 grand when it finally comes out. You can actually see in the windows there at New York. It's incredible, the detail. It was amazing what the detail these TVs can come up with, but that's part of the process. You've got to understand the difference that 4K and 8K bring. 4K is heaps for a long time to come, but if you get 8K right now, you'll be ahead of the block.
So if you do get 8K, and this sounds like a stupid question, it probably is, but if you get 8K now, with the Olympics being shot in 8K, will you be able to watch it in 8K?
In Japan you will, but in Australia, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to work because 8K needs a lot of bandwidth. And so the thing is, you will be able to watch it probably offline later on with files that'll be distributed through the internet. But that's where we're going to head. You know, all of this stuff's going to come over the internet. So you've got to make sure that you have things like great bandwidth coming into your house. But 8K, you've got to buy a big screen. So there's no point having an 8K TV that's just 65 inches. It's got to be like 95 inches, but that's when it costs 10, 20, 30, 40 grand. There's always a $30,000 TV sometimes.
So you've got a cheat sheet for us as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I think what you need to do here, Janie and Tim, is look at these sort of ideas when you go in. First thing is, if you've got a dark room, man cave, something like that, OLED is fantastic for that. That has deep, deep blacks. QLED is what Samsung have. They have really bright screens. So if you've got a bright room, make sure you do that. Viewing angle is great. Check it out on OLED. That's really good because if you've got a big family and want to watch the cricket at a really extreme angles, it's going to be great. HDR is high dynamic range. It means the dark stuff and the light stuff exist together in the frame and it looks good together. It doesn't look blown out or too murky. And the image processor. There is nothing worse than buying a cheap TV that looks good in the store. You get it home and the footy looks like absolute rubbish because it's all pixelated and the computer can't keep up with it.
We've come a long way since those black and white rank arenas that they watched the moon landing on, hey?
Yes, yes.
Turning the knob around.
Exactly.
We have. But do you think, how would you go with a see-through TV?
See-through TV.
So say if you... I've had the pleasure of checking these out, but you've got to see these TVs. These are absolutely phenomenal. This is a Panasonic television. Bang. Off.
Wow.
As transparent. It came out especially from Japan when Panasonic showed off their things. That's me behind it. So that TV and this LG display, which is used for commercially, is a real TV, but you can see through it. Wow. And this is what OLED does. It's just like a film, and that's back-to-back TVs, and this is a curved TV. Now, if you're doing woodwork, say with balsa wood or something like that, you can actually bend it. You can bend these TVs, and they use a chain to sort of wind it up. It's incredible stuff. All that stuff is here right now. Just a little expensive.
It's going to be hard to leave the home, isn't it? Now, just quickly, mobile security, so many passwords to remember. What are your thoughts on that? Because, I mean, do we keep the same one? How dangerous is it?
It is dangerous. Can I show you the latest top 10 of the worst passwords in the world? Now, please tell me you don't have them because these are absolutely horrendous. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it gets worse, password. Now, these get discovered because of hacks and leaks, and they get exposed. And this is from Splash Data, and they provide password managers. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's even worse.
They are
a
hacker's dream.
Easy to remember, but yeah, not good.
QWERTY, that's just running the keys straight across. I love you. There's one called Donald as well in the 1918. So they're the worst passwords. And the thing about that is you are susceptible if you use any of those passwords on another service as well. So what I recommend is a password manager. So a password manager is something that I use. Is called LastPass. Now, it has a free service as well as a paid service. You have to come up with one master password, really, really long, and you keep it. But then from there, it makes up passwords for you so you can then use different things like your Netflix and whatever else in your banking. So it all gets kept in this, and only you have the key, and it is encrypted. So get a password manager and don't use password as your password.
Fantastic information as always. Thank you, Djuro, for coming in. See you next week.
OK, see you then.
Don't use password as your password.